Congressman Carlos Gimenez, Republican from Florida, joins me now. Congressman, is this meeting with Colombia's president, is it really all about drugs?
It's about drugs, it's about oil, but it's also about, we're getting reports too that a lot of the cartels that were operating out of Venezuela are now going back to Colombia. And what is Petro going to do about it? Frankly, I don't trust Petro. Petro is a former narco-terrorist himself, very aligned with Maduro, Sheinbaum, Diaz-Canel, and Ortega. And the good news, though, is that we only have to deal with them till August, because Colombia is going to be electing a new president, in August.
Okay. I wonder what you make of this one, Congressman. A Russian jet, often used to transfer military equipment, touched down at an airport in Cuba Sunday night. I think it was in Havana. It was similar to the plane that landed in Caracas just before Maduro was captured. Congressman, what's going on here? Are the Russians flying people out, perhaps?
Either flying people out or flying stuff in to try to avert what they think may be coming from the United States. But whatever it is not going to work. President Trump has made it very clear that he considers Cuba to be a threat to the security of the United States. Cuba has been a threat to the security of the United States for over 65 years, a friend to the Russians, the Chinese, the North Koreans, and the Iranians. And so I think President Trump's taking the right action with Cuba. He is strangling them economically, and it's a failed state. And so we need to push it over, and we need to have a free and democratic Cuba and a friend of the United States just 90 miles from our shore.
When you say push it over, how do we push it over?
I think right now what the president is doing is the right thing. He is basically taking away all the economic benefits that they get from free oil from Venezuela. They also get free oil from Mexico. He's making sure that they're not going to get free oil from Colombia. I want some more harsher measures against Cuba. I would like to see all flights ended. I want to see all remittances ended, because that's what's keeping that regime afloat. And that regime is a cancer to the Cuban people, a cancer to the Western Hemisphere. We need some harsh medicine to cure the patient, Cuba, so that we can get rid of this cancer, which is the communist regime that has basically oppressed its own people for over 65 years and has exported its revolution to the Western Hemisphere. And so they've been a real thorn in our side for a long time. And I'm very glad that the president has taken decisive action.
You're meeting with Mexico's President Sheinbaum on Friday of this week. Is that meeting all about oil for Cuba?
It's about oil. Also Sheinbaum, the Mexican government also employs hundreds of Cuban doctors. The problem is that the money doesn't go to the Cuban doctors. It goes to the regime. And this is basically Mexico is involved in modern human slavery, human trafficking, because the money goes to the regime, doesn't go to the doctors, and putting money into the regime's pocket at the expense of these 400 doctors that are working in Mexico. And Mexico is involved in that trade too, and shipping, free oil for humanitarian purposes to Cuba. I'll tell you what, the best way to solve the humanitarian crisis in Cuba is regime change. And so why isn't President Sheinbaum saying, why don't you guys leave and let's transition to a free and democratic Cuba, and then the humanitarian crisis will be over in Cuba?
What do you think her response to that will be?
Well, she's a Marxist, and so she's not going to be real happy about it when I confront her, but I'm just going to confront her with the facts. And by the way, why is she giving away billions of dollars to the Cuban regime when she has her own needs in Mexico? How about controlling your northern border and all the cartels that are operating out of that have been killing hundreds of thousands of Americans and hundreds, if not thousands, of Mexicans themselves? You're not doing a really good job. I'm sure you could use that money for better purposes, to protect your own country and also protect Americans.
Have you spoken to President Trump about this meeting? Has he reached out to you? Maybe make suggestions about what you can say?
He hasn't. No, he hasn't. But President Petro and I have an interesting relationship. We go back and forth. And so a couple of weeks ago, he said that, come get me, I'm here in Bogota. Well, we didn't have to go get him. He's coming here to Washington. So, that's interesting. And so I think I'm going to make a little fun of that actually we didn't have to go get him. He actually came here probably on his hands and knees. Please, what can we do to make sure that, we cooperate with with America. Like I said, we're only going to have to be dealing with this guy for about 4 or 5 months more until we have a new president in Colombia. Hopefully somebody more aligned with the United States and with the Colombian people themselves.